Ookily-dokily-doo.
Hens love roosters, geese love ganders, everyone else loves Ned Flanders.
Okay, hello fellow Disney Plus watcher. I'm a little bit later than usual with a Moon Knight review. Yesterday's video about Sketchbook took me some more time, but it was a very new thing I tried out. But hey, it's nice to talk with you about Disney Plus today. If you love Disney and Disney Plus as much as I do and enjoy talking about it, why not click the subscribe button to stay up to date and give it a like so that more people can find this video. Thank you so much. Moon Knight, it's getting better and better. No exception today. I mean, be aware of spoilers, by the way. Spoilers ahead. You are warned. Still around? Great. Now, before we get into the nitty-gritty, the breakdown of what's been revealed at the Asylum, the incredible character journey we went on, let's get the negatives out of the way first. The very, very few negatives I have, at least. First, the new character we met at the end of episode 4. This goofy hippo Tawaret, who's a little too weird for the episode she's a part of, because 90% of the episode is like, in my opinion, right, it's like heart-wrenching drama mixed with the effective Chamber of Memories concept, which, by the way, reminded me of WandaVision a little bit, episode 8, where Agatha takes Wanda through her memories. And then 10% is a little bit sarcastic talking animal, and I know it's a Egyptian historic figure, but it doesn't really do it for me to portray her so goofy. And then there's just a look of the deck of the ship, the realm of the Duat, if you want to call it that, a world with very green screen heavy backdrops, a kind of ugly looking purple wall screen. I just don't think it looks up to standards to Marvel Studios in 2022, right? Unfortunately.
That looks terrible.
Then a more overarching story thing and my slight worry for the finale. So after this episode, spoiler alert, Steven's dead, Mark kinda has his redemption here, and it's only final battle type stuff we're left with, at least I think so. So I don't know, we still have the freeing of Khonshu and maybe some big secret about him, but I'm just saying, having the Steven-Mark conflict completely resolved just makes me have low expectations compared to the brilliance of this episode. And I want to be wrong, obviously. But other than that... Did any of you notice that this is the first time in this series we hear Giacchino's Marvel Studios fanfare with the logo again, instead of an Egyptian song or whatever? I don't know, it's just a geek in me gets hyped up when I hear that, and I loved the feel of this episode. Also, right at the beginning when we hear the clock and the different shots and the rhythm of the clock is right on the cuts, makes you nervous, helps you to get into the head of Oscar Isaac's character more. Great editing in this one. Also noticed the change of camera work after we found out the Asylum is actually a ship. It actually was a lot more fluent after we learned that. Like waves, like it's on a... The static shots were now changed because we know more as an audience. I love how we get thrown right into the confusion as we see Mark, at the very first scene, we see Mark with Harrow trying to speak some sense into him and calm him down. And I love the quick line that must not be overlooked in my opinion, but it's when Mark attacks Harrow and Harrow screams, be gentle with him, because these two guys trying to prevent Mark from killing himself actually. And it feels so honest. I really believe Harrow cares for the patient, especially because of this moment. In the heat of the moment, he seems to instinctively shout, be gentle, like he cares about him somewhat. So is Harrow the villain? Who knows? We're not sure. You're gonna have to open up to Steven. There's gonna be no progress without understanding. He's helping him to get on his path again. I love that we have a villain character with two personas and two different two different storylines, and one is a villain and one is a therapist or mentor figure even. That is always guiding him, and it's so interesting. But the whole episode, everything that follows from all different angles, be it with Harrow, with the Hippo God, in a flashback, everything is an allegory for a therapy session. And everything that's not, no, it is. It's all part of it. In both threads that follow, letting go of Steven is of utmost priority, and one of my favorite lines was Steven asking Mark, so I'm what, your little stress ball? And to have the most humanly related object regarding stress. You know, this mundane object, you should get a stress ball. It's a typical thing, but hearing Steven described as nothing more than a stress ball, it was one of the lines that gave me goosebumps. And there are not many times where I feel like what I'm seeing is super frustrating, because it's going against a simple narrative you're used to, but it's still very, very satisfying and emotional because of that. Also. I felt, because of the structure, I felt lost and heartbroken during the episode, as Mark was, as Steven was. I mean, I really wanted to throw that glass of water in Dr. Harrow's face too. I mean, damn it, I was so into the whole mission to rebalance the hearts on the scale of Steven and Mark, which was such a good foundation for the episode, by the way, to have so much stakes there. But to be ripped out of that, essentially the show outsmarting us again and again, just makes me go nuts. And that's the point. We as viewers also drive a little bit mad by the storytelling and by the going back and forth, and because flashback heavy episodes are traditionally, I mean, as far as I know, very inclined to halt the story, to pause into some history of the characters, but you can't pause into history of characters while you have so much plot going on, unless you're being really smart about it. Literally, because you're flashing back. So what are you doing? Well, this episode made great use of it, or at least gave flashbacks directly serving the furthering plot. Mark and Steven coming to terms with what happened to the family is directly what's at stake. They were on a ship with a hippo trying to steer the wheel on their way to not dying, and it's simple life or death stakes. And what is the key? Well, to give us these secrets, give us these memories of characters' flashbacks, not to have these passive flashbacks, but active ones that are hinging on the plot. It's so good. And it's so scary to see Harrow in the know, and I love how first Mark, or is it Mark? But to see him like this, well, Harrow is just as scary to us as he is as simply a therapist in that moment to Steven, if that makes sense. Because he's been built up as this dangerous figure throughout the show that kills people before they sin, and just here in this scene, he's only a therapist as far as we know. But we feel that distrust, and I can't get over how good it is. I can't get over Oscar Isaac's acting. Everybody's saying this to death, but his performance is just magnetic. The scene where he breaks the mood like this, that's not true. That's a lie. Sorry, I had to break in like that. You know, after Harrow says, "Mark, your mother died," and it was all very tense and quiet, and in the atmosphere of, we just have to understand each other better, blah, 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 blah. Hey, you know your mother's dead, right? And then to Pam, break that mood with that fierce denial of, no, my mother's alive, no question. It was a great scene. I think I know what moment broke my heart the most. It's not even the scene where Mark as a kid was hiding from his mother. I mean, that's cold stuff. For a Marvel show, this is brutally unfiltered commentary on child abuse and trauma, but it's what happened earlier that gets me. So after Steven witnesses Mark's mother lash out at him as a kid about his brother dying being all his fault, which was already a scene that gave me goosebumps, but it gets better. The fact that later Steven triggers him with the exact same thing, warning him about if they don't go and look at the last memory, their hearts will not balance, so they would die, etc. He triggers him again with, "It's gonna be your fault," and that speaks to the core of Mark's trauma. Remember, Steven's like a brother to him throughout this show, and he essentially has to deal with a second time a brother accusing him of something being his fault. And that's why this moment, wow, it hits so hard. I loved the style of the script, keeping you on the edge because you're snapped out of every scene with a cliffhanger. The Moon Knight character origin worked and makes Khonshu being the ultimate villain, for me, even more plausible. It's so heavy to see this already broken character being taken so much advantage of. Honestly, this was probably the true finale. I think we will look back at this show and look at this episode, and this is the magnum opus of Moon Knight. But we'll see next week. Now it's up to you. What did you think about this episode? Let me know in the comments below, and add D+ on the top of your comment if you want me to give my thoughts on your thoughts in the coming Sunday video. I'm thinking about wrapping this up. Thank you so much for watching. If you're interested in my thoughts on previous episodes, you'll find it right here or in the description. Did you like this video? Then there's a simple way to show support. Thank you so much. I'll be back this Sunday with your thoughts. For now, have a wonderful day and see ya.